Yolanda, did you Hello, hi. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and welcome in on this Monday. Hey, Coy Malone, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Sybil, how are you doing?
I'm well. Did you have a good weekend?
I did have a good weekend.
Did you
Did
go
a lot.
outside and play?
I did. I got a lot of outside playing done this
Okay,
weekend.
all right. Were you able to take advantage of the holiday, or did you have to work?
Well, I had to work. I was off on the 4th of July, but it didn't really seem like a holiday because I had to go back to work the very next day. So I
That'll
tried to go
happen.
out a little bit and I noticed that no one was really out like that. I'm like, wow, maybe that'll change this weekend.
Oh, and so did more people come out and play over the weekend?
Yeah, they did. Well, I had different events to go to, so that was pretty fun. I went to a seafood boil cookout. There was so much food there. Oh my goodness. And they had different tents set up, like almost like different VIP sections in a
Uh,
backyard. And we had wristbands for those of us that, paid for the food. And they had different types of crab, oysters, different types of fish, different kinds of vegetables, hamburgers, hot dogs, everything.
Now, as not, and you wear two hats here. You are a chef, and you also are a very, I don't want to call you a picky eater, but you have a peculiar diet.
Yeah, I do.
So, how do you do in something like that?
Well, with something like that, I do pretty fairly well. I do eat some seafood, so I can stomach crab. I can stomach
You can stomach.
crawfish. Yeah, crawfish, crab. I quit it for a while when I went back to it. I can eat certain types of fish, so I'm pretty good with that. And then some of the sides, like the potato salad that they had there, is very good. They had a regular, mixed salad, other vegetables, boiled eggs. That was pretty good. Different liquors.
And what was the liquor of choice?
This weekend it was tequila.
Yeah, that's an adult beverage of choice for you. Okay,
hmm
all right, okay.
Figured I wouldn't get too messed up on that.
Well,
So,
that's what they
and I was
say.
right.
That's what
Well, I
they
was
say.
right.
Well, no, I mean, before you were right. Um, that has been the line about people who drink tequila and can drink a lot of it and not have suffer the consequences of a hangover the next day. And you did go to work the next day, so I mean,
Well, that was Saturday. So
oh, okay,
Sunday, I went out with friends again. They invited me out and they treated me to food and drinks. So that was great.
okay, that's a nice vacation for you, nice little
Yeah.
treat. Speaking of treats, we have a guest coming up, FD Signifier. He is a YouTube creator, and check out his channel. He's going to come on and we'll learn a little bit more about him. I discovered him just by scrolling through, I think it was Instagram and YouTube and things like that, and asked him to come on. He answered my request, and here he is. And so we will talk to him in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. This is our effort to super serve, inform, and empower Black folks, and something we learned and continue to strive to do after the days with Tom Joyner. That's what he was about. He loved Black people and wanted to do everything good for them and talk about them, all the good stuff. And so that's what we do here, What You Need to Know. If you'd like to subscribe, the newsletter is absolutely free. And you can go to sybilwilkes.com, give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday. Coy Malone is our social justice contributor, and she, Coy, well, it was a different type of story because it wasn't about cops killing a black man this week. So for that, I thank you. Kind of gave us a little bit of a break here, but you wrote about an encounter between two bullying Karens at a Costco, and they were bullying a black man. What happened?
Yes. So people that have caught wind of this story on X, formerly Twitter, said that they must have been sampling racism that day. Basically, what happened
They
was
weren't getting
there.
the hot dogs or any pizza slices, huh?
I
Okay.
know, right? So what happened was there were two white women that were discovered to be a mother and daughter who were harassing this black man in the line ahead of them. Basically, I'm not really too familiar with Costco, so I don't know if this is like an everyday thing when you go in there and the lines are just like super long.
Hmm.
But they were in line, and what they kept doing was harassing him by pushing their cart into him. And he kept turning around and telling them, hey, can you stop? Can you watch out where you're going? So they just kept doing it. And at one point, he turns around and yells at them and pushes their cart away from them.
He had
And then
had
they bump
enough.
into him again. Right. He had enough. He was on the phone too, as well. So it was interrupting his conversation. So somebody behind them had been recording the entire interaction, unbeknownst to these women and the man. So a white male Costco employee comes up to the two women and he's asking them what's going on. And they were trying to, say, oh, he's bothering us. But before they can do that, the woman that was recording interjected and said, hey, no, I saw this whole thing. They've been harassing him the entire time, pushing his cart into them. And then the black man, says something. And once the white man kind of looks at the black guy and then looks at the woman recording, he walks away. He just kind of mumbles something about, keeping order in the line. So there was no protection for the black man. There was no discipline for the white women. And
he knows he should have been at Sam's anyway. I'm kidding.
It's just, it's wild to see how a lot of our claims just get overlooked when we're the ones in trouble. So
can I just ask, was the employee, was it a white guy?
Yeah, he was white.
Okay.
White male. So the two women recording then start trying to harass the woman. The two women start harassing the woman that's recording and calls her trashy because she's not responding to them at all. She's not interacting to them. They're snapping her fingers. They're like, oh, you don't have anything to say. You're trashy. And I'm like, wow, what's up with these people? But whoever this was held her composure very well. Just to drop some facts.
And so this is what's really interesting, because not only were you telling the story of this encounter, but also how people feel about things in regards to relationships or encounters, I should say, between Black and white people.
Yes. So there was a poll done by CBS last year, and 43% of white Americans believe that the efforts to erase racism, foster diversity, including DEI, and establish equality have gone too far. And a similar percentage believes that racist behavior is a minor problem today. So they think it's not something that we really deal with. Mm-hmm. But then they're also asking the people that don't deal with it.
or they choose to ignore it, even though it may exist. They choose not to call it what it is.
Exactly. So the mother and daughter, they have been identified. Their identities have been shared online. I haven't shared that in our newsletter, but if you like to look up the story on Twitter, the user name, we do have her AK Brews, BREWS, so you can look it up yourself. But it's just another reason why we keep saying that racism is an issue. And, I think that it's changed because white people have, and just people in general, they find it offensive when you call them racist, because in their mind, what racist is using the N-word out loud or torturing somebody that's Black or another color or another religion and doing all these things that have been outlawed, when it's still racism for bothering people who have done nothing wrong to you. Mm-hmm. It's also racism when they need help or assistance and you're ignoring the situation.
Yeah, there's a double standard there, for sure. I wish I had been there. I'm not a Costco person either, but
I don't like to go to stores that long.
Yeah, I will go in a heartbeat. I don't mind going to the stores. It's just the lines that can get me. Let's go to hello, Yolanda, our executive producer, Yolanda Starks White.
So I'm jumping in, Coy, because I'm the contrarian of the group. How do we know that person wasn't just an asshole?
Which one, the women or
she
the
can
man?
Be both. Both can be true.
Yeah, but why is it? So I have a lot of yous in my life. What does that mean? That everything is about
hang
race.
Out with sheep.
That's funny, Sybil. Why does it have to be? So do we know that the white person wouldn't have done that to another white person? Because some people are just busybodies, an asshole. How do we know that it was a black-white thing? I really want this to be a teachable moment for me.
How often do we see this be a white thing?
Well, we do.
I don't know.
We do.
I can't measure it. I don't know.
I have anything that I've seen like that. It's been highly rare. highly
I
rare.
saw one
And
today. I was waiting for my car to be repaired, and there was almost a bust up, but they came very close. Two white men, and it was like, "What are you doing?" And one of them called the other poor white trash, and I was like, "I'm poor white trash. You're poor white trash," and it was like, "Where are the cameras?"
could be a cultural
Right.
thing.
Did you record that? so Coy can see that.
I mean, it could be a cultural thing, but there's other factors in the matter.
Okay.
I have yet to see this happen to white people and go so far, and then there's no solution. Usually, what I've witnessed from what I've read in other stories, other news coverage and stuff like that, usually when it's another white person involved, there's some type of solution that happens. It's not ignored. All too often we see
So
when this
that was
happens
a
with
part
black
of
people, it's
it.
ignored.
Well, I
Okay,
will
all
say
right.
that
I've had the same thing happen to me in the store too, by an employee that was white. And I let her know something right there, and her manager. Stop. And she was grabbing my cart and like pushing it into me. And I'm like, why are you doing this?
So
To me, of all
give us the
people.
context. You said it was in a store.
Yeah, I
What
was
was the circumstance?
at a Walmart, oh gosh. And I was going up to a line, and she was telling me that the line was closed. And I'm like, okay. So I'm backing my cart up. And as I'm doing this, and there's other people that were trying to go there. As I'm doing this, she picks me out of everybody and starts pushing my cart into me. And I said, excuse me, who the hell are you doing this to, and why? It was all that even
So
necessary?
again, you think it was because you were a black woman? Because if it was a white person, that person wouldn't have done it.
No, she wouldn't have had the audacity to.
Because she
Okay.
told you she wouldn't have had the audacity.
Yeah, how do you know that?
No, I know, because there were other people that were white too. Why'd you pick me?
So you stood out, and she said A, B,
Okay.
C, D.
Yeah,
Mother,
mind you, I'm little.
but
Well,
you
maybe
didn't
she didn't
stand
like
out.
the color of your shoes.
She need to take that up with her gang.
Okay.
Not me.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Well, I will just say I saw it today, and it not for the guys at the automotive shop, saying, "Hey, hey, hey, he didn't mean it, and you good, and you good. Y'all don't have to shake hands or nothing, but
I
y'all
just
can't."
said we are all so on edge. I did something
Everybody
that
is.
was very out of character. Coy, I was at the barbecue place, and I was about to get something, and I think I have great car parking karma.
Mm-hmm.
So when I drove up, it was a car. People were walking, and it was right in front of the place. The people were walking, and they walked out. And so I was just waiting on them to pull back. When they pulled back, somebody behind me went in front of me, hopped up over the curve to get the spot.
It must be some good barbecue.
So no,
stay with us here, Coy. Stay with
people
us.
are just so entitled. So I was so angry that I pulled up. I said, "Okay, I got you, Mr. White Man," and I did. All right, Mr. White Man.
You didn't say Mr. White Man.
Yes, I did. I said, "This is what we gonna do." I went and I parked right behind them. I said, "For as long as I'm here, you go be here."
You did a symbol.
My friend that was with me, she looked at me and she was like, "What are you doing? This is so not. Let it go. It's a parking spot." And I was like, "Oh, it is a parking spot. Okay, never mind." So like I was really caught up. And when I went in there, the white man was sitting at the bar, and I said, "Tracy, can I go up there?" And no, it's nothing you can say. Get your little.
Damn, I wish I'd been there. Okay, sit down.
See, I'm good for stuff like that. And if it would have been a cop, she would have been worse.
Give me your badge number.
No, we're just so on edge. And even me, I'm pretty calm and I don't allow people to get to me. But I was just Coy. He came from around me and went up on the curve.
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch, like, yeah, he jumped out the car. Hold on, that's what I saw in my mind. He kicked the door open and got out. No, I'm kidding.
The lights came on.
Right.
Fireworks.
Anyway, I don't know.
But it is hard to separate who's just being an a-hole versus who's being racist, because unfortunately, we're in a country whose history has been built on racism and similar incidents that started that small, but ended up costing people their lives and or livelihood for several centuries. So, I mean, when it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it might be a duck, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Regina is online and she said, right, Coy, the key question is how often do we see whites harassing other whites in a store in that manner? I've seen it. And Janet said, you don't.
So it's just me. It's just me and you, Sybil, because I don't know that but I don't keep records, so I don't know if it happens or not.
I do keep records.
I would like to believe that people don't do this.
I will go back to the automotive place tomorrow and just sit because it was a really nice place. They had coffee and tea
and you like seeing the white man be against the other white man?
I was transfixed. I was like, let's get my popcorn. Come on, let's.
Well,
and I've been at it also. Been at a Walmart in which a Hispanic man and a black man were getting at it, and I was right between them. And the Hispanic's like, "What you gonna do, Holmes?" And like, you ain't, for one thing, you ain't gonna call me Holmes. And and I just moved my cart out of the way because by that point in my life, I knew about the prominence of guns and not to come in the middle of something like that. And I got out of line and I went down to another checkout place. But I wasn't, because I wasn't going to be in the middle of that. And to be fair, they were both wrong. They were both anxious and they needed to get somewhere and they were just in a big hurry. And so there was no kind of, they were at 15 on a level 10. And there was no, hey fellas, come on, you cute little Hispanic man, come on, brother man, come on. No, there was none of that. I just moved out of the line.
Well, we're on edge. I know I'm on edge, and I have to really work on staying in my peace and my happy place.
And one of the men may have been on edge because he had to buy a full set of tires. So I'm just saying, that's not an easy thing to accept. But
and also, not only was this country built on racism, but it was also built on a history of violence. And a lot of that violence came from their origin countries as well. Not necessarily.
Well, okay. Well, let's just say that there are a lot of factors. Let's just say a lot of factors. We don't have to go into the history lesson and everything, especially when we don't have a lot of time.
I'm just saying that contributes to people being on edge too, because they're also
I don't know if our origin has as much to do. I will disagree with you on that, and we can talk about that at another time, maybe next week, when we don't have a story about a cop shooting a black man. We can get back to this and make that, an express yourself question. Because I really do want to get to our guest, and hopefully FD is with us. FD Signifier is with us, and just wanted to bring him into the conversation. I just have, first of all, welcome, FD. How you doing?
How you doing? Do I still sound okay?
Yolanda?
Yes, you sound great, FD.
Awesome.
So FD, let me tell you, I fell in love with your little boys. That's what first brought me into your space, was just you have these two adorable little boys. How old are they?
10 and soon to be 11 and soon to be 9.
Okay. And so most recently I saw a video that I guess your wife took of them painting the bathroom.
Oh yes, that's an old video.
Right.
That was a moment. I'm happy we got that on camera. There's a handful of like those moments that we didn't get on camera, but we got that one, and I'm happy I got to share it.
So let me just I jumped right into it and just kind of 3:00 in the morning. I was just sliding through a lot of different social posts and came across yours and watched you because you're a YouTube content creator, also known for doing analysis of Black movies and media, which we'll talk about, and a self-described smarty art Negro and general know-it-all. Well, that could have kept. That's why you're a perfect fit here. Because there are a lot of people on this show that wouldn't necessarily describe themselves as the know-it-all, but they are.
You just
And
got to be honest about your vices.
yeah, right.
Right.
But you are a husband and a father of two beautiful boys. You talk about everything from raising young Black boys in today's world, what really makes a man desirable, and also share your nerd side of it when you have the whole family dressed as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, that's cute.
So I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
you are a well-rounded
Yeah,
man in
Thank
terms
you,
of
thank
all of
you.
this, and I really appreciate all that
that's
you
awesome.
do. So, for those of us who don't know, who are you? Where are you from? Who are your people?
Oh man, so I'm FD Signifier. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, the south suburbs to be
Of,
specific,
of
because
course.
I
Of course.
don't
The
want anybody
greatest.
to call me to tell me I'm false claiming. I'm from Calumet City,
Oh,
but if you know
okay,
anything about the city, that's
right.
5 minutes from like everywhere.
From the real hood, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
I actually was there. Augill Gardens is around the corner. It's like a 5 minute drive.
Okay,
And so I was there as a young man when Obama was still wrecking shop over there,
Right.
or maybe he had just left. I don't know. I just know there was some time spent, shared time spent, and I came to Atlanta for school in 2000. And Atlanta's amazing. I never left. I have been
Where'd you go to school?
Clark Atlanta University.
All
Oh
right.
wow.
Nice.
Thank you, thank you. I have been trying to save the world basically ever since I graduated. I was a teacher and did all kinds of like teacher mentoring stuff, and then I found myself transitioning into social work, and working directly with like high risk youth in a juvenile court system. And then I said, well, maybe I could do better if I got into uh, the higher level, like administrative body. So I worked for like a professional research and consulting organization that worked in public and behavioral health at Georgia State University. And then COVID hit.
Right.
And I had always been, a nerdy guy with a lot of opinions, and I had a lot of extra time on my hand. And so I started making videos just for fun, and then I realized I'm pretty good at this. Like I'm
Nice.
good enough to do this for real. And so I started just learning the game of YouTube. YouTube is a very complex and interesting game, but I happen to be lucky enough. I always point out that I'm very lucky to catch the eye of a handful of people who help, put a little weight behind my name, and then the system and my talent kind of did the rest. And here I am now, 4 years later,
with how many subscribers?
700 and maybe 40,000 on my main channel,
Oh
and then
wow.
210,000 on my side channel. And then I have a couple of other smaller channels with a couple of thousand each for like kind of side projects I'm developing. So yes, almost going on 1 million altogether, and still
Good for
moving at a
you.
good pace.
Are you
Thank you.
able to monetize it and make a living at it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Once you
That's
get
awesome.
to a certain point, it's a lot of money. It's a nice amount. It's a nice piece of change. It's
Are
a
you making
rat.
like I hate to talk about people's money, but are you making like Shannon Sharp money
No,
with Club Shay Shay?
Shannon Sharp's making a lot more than I am. Well,
Okay.
it depends on a lot of things, because like people don't tell you, YouTube, you get paid based on who watches you. So there's some inherent biases built into that. So like it's 3 Black women making content, even if y'all had as many subscribers as me, just on the basis of being Black women, the way that advertisers view the audience that they assume you have, and they'll have some analytics on it that may make them end up having to pay less.
Oh shoot.
So like, especially like in the social culture stuff,
Right.
if I wanted to make the big money, I would do like tech or finance. Like those people make big bucks,
Got
way
it.
less effort.
Interesting.
So yeah, but no, I'm not Club Shay Shay's doing so many numbers. His numbers are way. I do 1 video a month on my main channel, and then like maybe 3 or 4 on my side channel. I try to make it feel like, and my goal is to do 1 video every 2 months.
Right.
But the numbers ain't quite hitting where it need to be yet.
The numbers ain't numbering.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah,
We working on it. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Well, I love listening to you as opposed to Club Shay Shay. But I'm just really fascinated by your topics. And one conversation you had with a man, a young man, and talking about Black fathers raising their sons. And that really touched my heart. So how do you think from your generation, How are you all doing?
So I don't want to throw shade at my elders. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've engaged with a lot, just kind of coming to terms with the flaws of my own father, is just the nature of how the world was understood by older generations would make it unlikely that they would be able to foresee, things that they could have done better or things that they were doing poorly. And that may be the case for me. Like there may be things that I think I'm doing really good with my sons, and they'll hit their 30s and be like, yeah, Dad, we needed more of this and less of that. So I'm crossing my fingers that that's not the case, but I do feel like millennials and fathers my age and younger are having a greater understanding of the holistic needs of their children from a father, and especially for boys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sayings. I'm going to kind of butcher probably several of them at once, but it's like girls are raised, boys are something that's not as good as being raised.
Mm.
I can't remember the term. But it basically kind of gets to like, we don't really develop, we're not, and this is universal, but I'm speaking specifically about Black people right now. We don't always have the best apparatus of like developing boys as total people. And we kind of, we brush up against this idea of what a Black man should be.
Mm-hmm.
And we think it shouldn't include a lot of things that it really should. And like history and like hindsight is telling us that the absence of certain things like, having your emotions be a genuine part of who you are, knowing how to express those emotions, having other people be prepared for a man's whole emotional being, taking care of yourself.
What's the one thing that you wish you had learned that you were able to share with your sons that you wish you had gotten from your elders, your dad and uncle?
Tenderness,
Mm.
tenderness and empathy. I'm very affectionate with my sons. I'm very much a hug dad.
Mm-hmm.
My son's not afraid of physical touch from me or men and boys in general. They hug their boys, friends when they come over. And that, like, it's so funny. The thing that you think we often think we're doing with young boys is keep making them tough.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to withhold certain emotional norms from boys,
Right.
because we don't want them to be soft. We want to make them tough. And like historically, I have never seen a lot of evidence. We might make them low-key crazy doing that. But like, I don't know if tough is really the word, because like a lot of these boys that don't have strong emotional, aren't strong with their emotional balances and wavelengths are often ones that are quick to make the easy decision or the wrong decision or give up on certain situations because it's hard. And so like, I'll never forget, I knew I was doing something right when we had like karate class and they got to break the board, right? And this is, it may just be just because my boys are built like that, but they were the only boys in class to break it on the first try. They were fearless. They couldn't wait. You know what I'm saying? And that's them in almost every aspect of their lives. And when they hurt themselves or get upset and cry, I never shame them about that. I never make it seem like their crying is somehow something to be diminished. I at most say, hey, let's compose ourselves, let's work through it, and let's think about what we're supposed to do next. And
you're a unicorn.
Yeah, let me.
I'm not, at least among my generation.
Boys
are loved, girls are raised.
Is that it?
I think
that's
it.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. And that sounds good, but
I have a question for you, FD. And one of the many things that I like about me is, number one, I am not a public figure, so I'm not looking for followers. So I really say what I want because I don't care if you like me or follow me. So I just come on to wreak havoc with Sybil. So my question is, seriously, I need some help with this and I want to learn. Like I was telling Coy, I was in the store today and I saw this young lady who was very athletic looking. And I had just had a conversation with my sister about one of her children. So I asked the young lady, I said, are you a girl? Because she could have been a boy. And I said, are you a girl? She said, yes. And I said, so are you she, her, they, them? I don't know. And she said, I'm she. She said, I'm a girl. I'm she because I'm a girl. I said, okay, I just want to learn. And I really come from a space. And I saw that she was open up. And I said, okay, young lady, teach me something. I have a niece that is masculine, but I'm not sure that she's masculine. I think she might be athletic. And she said, that's me. She said, I'm athletic. And I said, okay. And for those old heads of us, when we look at that, we automatically assign you here. And I'm learning that's not necessarily the case. And she said, no. And so I was like, have you ever dated a girl? She says, I tried, but I like men. It was uncomfortable because the little girl was only like 17 or 18. And
you're trying to balance like several different transgressions in your head.
I was just like, whoa, okay. I'm trying to have an intelligent conversation. Don't go there. But the sum total, because we went through a lot, the sum total was she said that my relatives who are in their 50s, really 60s, 70s, 80s, they just don't get it. They just want to put us in a box.
Right.
And that's all they see. They put us in a box. And one thing that I tell my peers who might be in that age, I said, we gonna be dead. And I say, you go be better off because we go be dead. And then your generation is teaching the young generation on how, because as you were sitting there talking about your son, we had Chris Paul that was on the show last week. And it's one of Sybil comedian friends. And he said that he was with a group of men that all of a sudden started talking about their feelings and crying.
Talking about depression.
Depression, that's right. And I was like, I don't want to hear it. You can't.
You got to hear it, Sybil.
FD, you can't.
I mean, not Sybil Yogi.
No, here. I'll listen, but don't come to me crying, FD.
So you have to identify. You've identified yourself as just not a safe space, and I respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and that's something that men are learning. Like it's not ideal. But one thing I tell a lot of men, like I do a lot of stuff with like. You mentioned the desirability video. I don't do like dating advice too much because I'm like, I've been married for 20 years. I don't know nothing about dating. Right. But I do speak to men the fact that there's this angst that if I don't continue to perform a certain type of masculinity, that women won't like me, which is true. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
But I explain to them, we just talking about evolution and Darwinism right now.
Right.
I guarantee you there are women that will like and deal with and like even desire what you're offering.
Nice.
And as more and more women get rejected because they're emotionally unavailable to new
this
age
list
men,
gets a lot shorter.
Yeah, right. As more and more women are like, I guess I gotta let niggas cry. Oh, okay.
Yolanda is also my best friend, so you've heard her talk. So.
Okay, I'm sorry. So as more and more women are like, man, I gotta let niggas cry a little bit. They'll get with the program. It'll be okay. We will just like we will.
I receive that, FD. Thank you.
We'll often have to meet the standards y'all present. We should. I know that's not always the case.
Right.
Vice versa. I know it's gonna be the case. Sadly, things are imbalanced, but like that's the reality situation. And so, as for the kids and kind of like the way the youth are approaching gender without getting super deep into that's a very complex thing. I got degrees in it, and I still often find myself not fully knowing how to engage in certain conversations with my queer peers. It's a couple things this is always know. They can always tell if you're really being respectful. They can always tell. And there's been so many times where I've misgendered someone and it's never been a problem, right? But they can tell when you're trying them. And as long as you're not trying them and you are trying to understand,
I can see that. Yeah.
Usually it's cool.
Yeah.
You want to not put each and every one of them on the spot to kind of explain their existence, as I'm sure they get tired of doing that. Right. But as long as you're respectful, and you recognize one thing that I think is really useful for older generations to hear, and this is no shade to older generations, but these younger folks look at us like, what have y'all done to earn the right to dictate how we exist? Because I look around and I see we just lost affirmative action. We just lost abortion.
Come on, FD.
We in 2 wars that don't make no sense. Ooh. I can't get a decent job. Like all this stuff is happening, and you gonna tell me how to wear my hair and how to call
and pull up my pants and all that other.
I ain't trying to listen. Go on somewhere with that. Tell me how to fix this economy or our criminal justice system, and then I'll let you dictate some terms of how I show up in the world.
I'm looking at the clock right now, FD, and I know you got a lot to do. Can you stick around with us for a little bit, or do you need to bounce? Okay. Wanted to tell people that we are here with our new friend, FD Signifier, and want to let people know how can they follow you.
I am mainly on YouTube, and YouTube is its own unique organism. You can just type in my name, FD Signifier. Or it's the side channel is called Signify B-Sides. The main channel is like mini documentaries. You can go find so many videos there shorter than an hour. And a lot of them will hit 1 hour and 15. My next one is 3 hours long. Whoa. So like you set aside some time or you prepare to eat it in chunks. And then my side channel is more, lighter stuff. It's, pop culture, a little mess, a little gossip, a little hot take commentary type stuff. And then I have a podcast that is close to what we're doing right now, where it's just kind of like having hopefully meaningful conversations with people. I haven't posted in a couple of months, but I've been busy. And then I'm also on Instagram. I'm trying to get my Instagram presence better because that's where more Black folks are and are consuming stuff. And Instagram and YouTube don't always connect like I wish they would. So
they should.
I'm working on that. Right. Now they don't that's money to them. If YouTube and Instagram, they don't let, like if I post something on Instagram from Instagram to YouTube is like, we don't even see that.
Right.
Talk about, and vice versa.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's basically what happens. If you post an Instagram link on YouTube or YouTube link on Instagram, that post will get no traction, like almost guarantee you.
It's like it does not exist in our universe.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's like we don't speak that language.
Good for you for understanding and processing this and benefit from it.
Was that a long learning curve for you?
I wouldn't call it long. I mean, my first year, I had nothing. I just made videos for fun, and then I had one video pop off, and I suddenly had white folks all on my email trying to get me to do stuff. And so I was like, all right, I'm about to be successful. Let me go ahead and get prepared. I picked the best white folks I could rock with. And they introduced me to
I like you a lot.
I picked the best white folks to rock with. And they kind of introduced me to the game, the YouTube game, pretty strong over the course of like the next couple of months. And then I made it a point to create as many, to find ways to trickle that information down to other Black folks.
That's right.
So if you're on my YouTube page, you go to my community page, you'll see a lot of me always posting Black creators. And we have a whole little clique that we created.
First of all, I want to say that Stephanie says on Facebook that this is an awesome topic. And John on YouTube said he just started following you. So good on you. But you have characters too that come on, like who's Lil Bill?
Oh, Lil Bill. Lil Bill is me, minus a couple of years and growing up in the hood. A little more surly is the bottom line. I'm from the south suburbs. I always want to make it real clear because it's important when we get to certain political topics that Black folks from this my petite bourgeois background don't get too comfortable talking over Black folks that's really from that. So like when me and Lil Bill collabed, I was like, oh yeah, I got to make sure you always getting as much resources and attention as I can. We end up constantly, because we're so similar, literally every other month make the same video. But it's interesting, you can kind of tell the slight differences. My video is all like, hey, FD Signifier, and this is stuff, and it's flashy and dramatic, and Lil Bill's like, all right, this how y'all wrong about this. Don't make me have to repeat this shit no more. It's real good. So and it's a couple of people. I have it's a lot I found because I don't think I'm a unicorn. And I found so many Black men my age and younger that are in the same space as I am. And I make sure to put them out there because one of the main things I would hear when I first started getting popular. So to bring up a name, I don't want to get too much into controversy. I started thinking about my channel differently when I saw Kevin Samuels blow up. And I was like, all right, so this is our representation. this is it. This is all we got.
That was a fascinating conversation too.
Yeah, I was like, what can we do about this? And so when I realized that was like the reality of Black men's representation on YouTube, at least, I was like, I got to do something about that. And once I started to get significant, I got so many Black men that have come to me and said, I'm so happy you're here. I've been thinking and feeling all of these things for so long. And I thought I was alone. And, and so like, Black men, you're not alone. And that's kind of a big deal. Black
go
men
on and cry.
Go on and cry. And if Yolanda if Yogi don't want to rock with you, somebody will. Somebody will. They'll give you the program. Times and chance.
That's cool. That's beautiful.
We are here with our new friend FD Signifier. And so, how can people? We asked how people follow you. What about your merchandise?
All I got is a shirt and a couple of things on my YouTube channel. I probably need to circle back to merchandise, but I'm a creative at heart. My wife, to give a little like lore, while I was out here trying to save the world and was working as a teacher and a social worker, which don't make a lot of money. My wife was in the corporate world, chopping people down. They was treating her like what's the woman name from the show? I'm gonna fix it.
Oh,
Olivia Pope.
Yeah.
She ain't like that after a while, because in real life that gets stressful. She was like, I'm not about to be y'all magical Black woman, and every time I come in the meeting, y'all want me to fix everything because y'all don't know how to listen. But I'm trying to get her to run the business parts of this. Is the 2025 goal.
Okay.
So there's no new merch.
That's cool.
But maybe in 2025 we'll get that together and kind of expand those parts of it.
Okay. All right. So in our trending, we normally talk about events of the day. But I did want to ask you something that came up in yoga today. This is not, our normal conversation varies. But did you watch the BET Awards last week?
I did not watch them, but I stayed mostly abreast of the different like trending topics that came out of it.
Okay, so the question is, what did you think of Usher's acceptance speech? That's what I said.
So I'm of two minds.
Okay.
On one end, the more I've learned about the realities for Black fathers, the more empathetic I've become to Black men trying to stay in the lives of their children and being imperfect in that process. And I don't know what happened or what's going on, but that was an emotional response. Right. That was a Black man who felt bad. I don't know if he felt bad because he did something wrong, or if he felt bad because he was done wrong, but he felt bad and he wanted to have the access and capacity to be engaged with his children. Now, the problem is we don't receive that well from Black men. The image of Black men as fathers is, invisible, which is statistically relatively
not true. It's not true.
It's not true on so many levels, but like we just can't shed that coat. And so I understand when a lot of men have these emotional outbursts, because like a lot of Black men only feel seen in like certain framings. If I'm up here and if I'm angry or if I'm sexy or if I'm throwing a ball, or if I'm like perfect, if I'm Idris Elba, you know what I'm saying, then I'm listened to. But if I'm just funny, right? But like just kind of like there, and this goes for Black women as well. I don't want to be dismissive. I want to be open to that. But I think Black women have for years kind of developed a discourse around that, and kind of have learned how to engage with each other and how to respond to the world around that angst. And I think for Black men, we still have it in our head that we're just supposed to just suck that up. And it's like,
and do a lot of grunting.
Then you hitting the bottle. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're sucking it up and your blood pressure out of control.
Or smoking.
Or you smoking, you know what I'm saying? Or you unavailable for your kids because you got all these other issues going. It's like maybe sucking it up ain't the resource. Maybe we need to have some conversations around other coping mechanisms. And so for that moment, that was Usher trying to cope. I hope that works out for him.
You also addressed a number of things and how you were changing your life and getting healthier and things. And you referenced, a not so healthy past. are you successful in your journey, and are you helping other men on their journey as well?
So I do have a video plan about health. I have talked on occasion about like the nature of men's health and John Henryism, which is a sociological concept in public health, where some men are literally working themselves to death. I have high blood pressure. I have a lot of brothers and family and friends high blood pressure. Half my friends' dads died before they reached 65. What I'm saying, many of them before they reached 60. And that's just a thing.
Yeah.
And so I personally had to, as I was talking all this stuff about health, I was working myself to death once this YouTube thing kicked off. Because I'm gonna be real, I'm not a hard worker. Like, that's what makes this YouTube thing great. It's gamified.
I like you.
I was never when me and my wife met. There was a reason why she was in corporate America. Now I told us, look, I'm trying to teach and I got things I'm trying to do with the world and with kids. And you're not coming with me if you trying to, jet set too tough. She's like, I gotta do it myself. And I'm like, all right, awesome. I'm working.
Wow.
Work this out.
Where is she?
She's a stay-at-home.
Okay, let us see her.
Good.
She's in a couple of things on the podcast I'll send you. And that wasn't perfect, mind you. We were both young-minded in that overly simplistic setup of our lives for the rest of our lives.
But that was still mature on your part to let her know those expectations. That is very mature.
Because I just learned at an early age, I visibly kind of recognized that the way all men, but specifically Black men, are kind of coached to be real men. It seemed like a fixed game. Seemed like 3-card molly to me. I'm like, I don't know if none of this really worked the way y'all say it is. I'm looking around. It doesn't seem quite right. There was a point I was trying to make. I think we got sidetracked. You had asked.
Well, you're talking about the health thing, the health aspect.
Oh, so I was just saying, even though I'm not a super hard worker, whatever. When I knew I was trying to get my wife out of her job, she's working herself to death with messing around with these corporate people, and I knew this is an opportunity that was a once in a lifetime situation. So I found myself passing out at my computer screen and
because you were working so hard.
I was working so hard. And I had there's a video, and I actually captured it on video where I have a panic attack in the middle of an interview. And I'm probably at 310 pounds at this point. You can see it in my face. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm not about to suddenly get this new job and career, make this money, take care of my kids a whole different level, and then be gone.
Right.
She have to live off insurance money. I ain't trying to have that be my legacy. I want more pictures. And so I do have something about that, about kind of Black bodies and Black health and things, not just for men, but also for women. Shout out to Effect Fitness here in Atlanta. I don't know when that'll come. I'm trying to, branch out and map out different things.
Sure. You're a man with a lot of ideas, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm annoying. You only take me in small doses. This is perfect because my wife is going to love me when I get off the screen. I'm getting it all out right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, we are loving you, and I just want to talk a little bit more because Dr. R on YouTube says, "Great guest, bring him back." So you are officially invited.
We've gotten
back.
a lot of that, Sybil. I just eventually put it up, but you're great, FD.
But my question is, and I see sometimes there are references to politics, but what do you think of the situation now as far as the presidential election is concerned? Do you have thoughts, or do you just try to stay away from it?
I have a lot of thoughts. I've diminished my politics for a little while.
Right.
I do have a political video coming up, but mostly because I kind of recognize some things about the nature of my politics and my platform that made me uncomfortable. I was also I had some moments where I was like, do I need to think more about my security as an individual, yada yada, because Black folks, we talk a certain way, certain things tend to happen. But to answer your question, the situation is really bad. I am not at all happy with either candidate. I am not sure I'm going to vote for either candidate at this point. Well, I'm definitely not voting for Trump. Let me just be clear.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm going to vote for Biden right now. I voted for Biden last time. I kind of held my nose and just punched the button. And right about now, it's harder and harder for me to think about the worst case scenario not being where we already are.
Really?
And maybe there's just more to be done at a local or or a community organizing level to shield yourself from the realities of what's happening at a federal level.
Coy, were you just adjusting your ear, or did you want to say something? Oh, okay.
No, because it was on me. I was trying not to hit it.
Yeah, so like it's tough. It's tough without getting into too many details. I'm still praying that they put somebody else in there because of how bad Biden looks. Was that last week?
But not what? Okay, so this is the argument that we've been having. This is just between Yolanda and me. Not so much how he looked, but how he sounded. Were you able to separate listening to him from the way that he looked on stage?
So Biden's always been like that. Is the funny thing. He's always been a flubber. Even his Obama. It just looks worse now that he's old, like really old. Older.
Yeah.
So the only reason I care about that is because maybe other people will care enough to put him out the race. Like at the end of the day, the Republican. So I always call it. The Republicans want to shoot you in the head. The Democrats want to give you cancer. And so, like, I would rather live with cancer than get shot in the head. Don't get me wrong. But right now, it looked like they trying to shoot people in the head to me. It may not look like me specifically right now, but like as you look at the.
Do you like Kamala? Do you like Vice President Kamala? No,
not really.
Okay. All right, no judgment.
But But I would gladly, right about now, vote for Kamala over Biden.
I think that's why a lot of people, and myself included, older Black people, are looking at this whole Joe versus anybody else.
Right.
And I will ride with Joe, knowing that if something should happen, and God forbid, I really don't want anything to happen to this man, the way I think about other politicians and something happening to them. But I want Kim to keep her. And if something should happen, then she is the one that's going to take the reins for this. And I don't want them to take him out and then push her out of the way, because then we'll have just another white man with a white agenda and putting other white people and not doing what Joe Biden has done as far as Black women and representation in his cabinet.
And that's kind of the big challenge that I often have. And I don't want to. The challenge I have is that as I sit here and really analyze, and I've even looked going back to the Obama's era, I don't know if we've ever not had a white agenda, you know. And I don't know, like we might have some Black people, more Black people there, and there'll be some, some sprinkles of some, what is it, sprinkle?
Yeah,
a little of that, of course, but it's never going to look demonstrably different until there are some demonstrably different norms within the way our government looks, and without getting myself in trouble.
They're gonna have to get rid of the 13th Amendment first.
It's gonna be have to so many different things.
A lot of stuff.
So
but also in terms of, it's really important, and I can't stress this enough, if you're not going to expand the Supreme Court, then
what you doing?
What are you doing?
What you doing?
And we're just waiting for Clarence Thomas to die?
Yeah.
Well, people don't die that easily.
They live forever.
Yeah.
Forever. When Alito died, I was like, oh snap, we about to be up. And then and going back to my discontent with Obama, like, bro, what was you doing? Why you paused the game?
Right. I could really talk to you, and I know everybody is as fascinated with your take on things. But once again, I want to invite you back to come back and join us on another for another episode of It's Sybil. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know how much I would enjoy it, but I did know that I really enjoyed what you put out there on social media space. So
I appreciate that. That does well for me. I appreciate it.
Well, tell your wife to call me when she needs a break, and we'll book you.
I'm available pretty often. Like I said, I don't like working hard. I grind real hard. Like today was a hard work day.
Yeah.
I ain't moved from this spot most of the day. But like now I'm going on vacation, and if things go right, I ain't about to work again for another 2 weeks.
Right.
Good for you.
Good for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Good for you.
So before you leave, we have every day in our newsletter, we have Yogi's Jewels. It's a daily inspiration. And so Yolanda, before just drop a little something on.
I don't have it.
Okay, I do. That's fine. I got it. Today's jewel is we should appreciate small moments in life. They can lead to a greater sense of overall peace and happiness.
Amen.
So appreciate those small moments. Enjoy your small people and the small moments on your vacation. And thank you, sir. We appreciate you. FD Signifier. And Coy, thank you so much. Yolanda, thank you. And
thank
we'll see you all again.
Nice to meet you, FD. Coy,
nice to meet you all.
Thanks
Thank you all for bringing me. Peace and blessings.
Okay, hold on, FD. Don't hang up.
Okay.